Analysts say Chinese leaders have responded to the country's prolonged economic downturn with an urgency not seen in many years, as they replaced promoting technological innovation with boosting consumption and domestic demand as the top economic priority for policymakers. CNA's Si Hui with this report.
As Chinese leaders met to set key tasks for 2025 at the annual Central Economic Work Conference, a 4,000-word brief released at the conclusion of the meeting reads almost like a battle cry, with officials at all levels urged to face up to difficulties and strengthen their confidence.
Really reviving a lot of the crisis era language that we haven't seen in more than a decade since the global financial crisis, and the economic issues that have been plaguing them, ranging from property market to consumers being down, and also certain youth unemployment issues. There seems to be identification that these issues really require a lot more from the Chinese state, and hence the statement came through with a more decisive tone on actually assisting the Chinese economy and to from the state, and really to let the state support a lot of that growth.
Boosting domestic demand, especially household consumption, is the #1 task for next year, replacing technological innovation.
Quite remarkably is that the government leaders are putting consumer demand at the top of the agenda. 2023 meeting, the top priority used to be critical technologies, what we call the new productive forces. But this time it went to the second place. Instead, references to consumer demand, to a more efficient investment, is the top priority.
The Central Economic Work Conference decisions built on the outcome of a December 9 meeting of the 24-member Politburo, also chaired by President Xi Jinping, while urging officials to work towards stabilizing the property and stock markets, among other key tasks. Leaders pledged to deploy more proactive fiscal policies and a moderately loose monetary policy, a term last used more than a decade ago during the global financial crisis in 2008. But the new policy stance will have to confront a very different external environment this time around.
When leaders talk about moderately loosening the monetary policy, they sort of realize that the situation is quite challenging. This time, China is facing stronger constraints from exchange rates, because there's the extra pressure of Trump tariffs, which is normally conducive to depression in the RMB. And I do think that the need to keep the RMB relatively stable will limit the actual extent of monetary loosening.
Different from 2023, this year's Economic Work Conference also includes lines emphasizing the importance of safeguarding people's livelihoods and maintaining safety and stability during the year-end and New Year period. It required officials to thoroughly investigate and resolve various conflicts, disputes, and potential risks to ensure overall social stability. All in all, analysts said the meeting's outcome indicates a clear-eyed assessment of the economic situation facing the country.
This seems to be a shift in mindset, and the hopes are that the wording that comes out that suggests that they are actually looking at it as a crisis puts Chinese officials from top to bottom in a more serious mindset that this requires decisive action and actually follow through with those actions. And I think that would be only beneficial for the Chinese economy in 2025.
The outcome of the two-day Central Economic Work Conference will guide officials as they huddle in the coming months to set the economic growth target for next year. The closely watched figure will be unveiled at the annual 2 sessions in March, when officials gather to discuss and approve government budgets. Si Hui, CNA, Beijing.